Welcome to my channel. This is Bruce the Boss Brooks, and happy Easter to everyone, by the way. So, last night, NBA legend, former Philadelphia 76er and Phoenix Sun star Charles Barkley, now turned NBA commentator, has broken the internet and triggered a lot of people during a segment of the NCAA Four tournament games when he said this.
Shared that news, how painful it was.
Yeah, but the one thing I took out of that piece was, man, I think most white people and black people are great people. I really believe that in my heart. But I think our system is set up where our politicians, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, are designed to make us not like each other so they can keep their grasp of money and power. They divide and conquer. I truly believe in my heart most white people and black people are awesome people. But we're so stupid following our politicians, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. And their only job is, hey, let's make these people not like each other. We don't live in their neighborhoods. We all got money. Let's make the whites and blacks not like each other. Let's make rich people and poor people not like each other. Let's scramble the middle class. I truly believe that in my heart.
Boom. And there you have it. That's what he said, and the internet went wild last night, and it's still trending to some degree on Twitter right now, although still mostly dominated by Happy Easter. But he really triggered a lot of people, but I believe he's telling the truth. And that is, most people are good, honest people who love their neighbors, love their community, and even love this country, no matter what your ethnicity or skin tone looks like. They'll welcome you so long as you welcome them, or are willing to listen to them. But you have a system in place that is so big on divide and conquer, because a lot of us are in the same boat. I have more in common with most working and middle class white people than I do black, rich, and Latino people. You know, it doesn't really matter what you look like. If you're in the same communities, struggling with the same issues, same piss poor educational system that is promoting up flunkies, if you're being riddled with the same level of crime and you just can't get out of those communities, you're facing the same economic hardships, declining job market, then you are going to have a lot in interest, a lot alike. But you have those who build their power based upon dividing one group from another. Because, for instance, if you are black in the hood and you see your communities falling apart, you see that your schools are crap and these kids aren't learning anything in a lot of these schools, truth be told. Look at the proficiency levels of these tests, all right? And when you see there's no hope, I'm not learning anything, well, what use is there in me finishing? What qualifications am I going to have? And therefore, the job market sucks because you're producing a lot of individuals who aren't qualified for much of anything, and they can't live off of what they can get. And then that also breeds a high level of crime rate, and crime breeds murder, and eventually leads to murder if the individuals don't participate in or cooperate, I should say, with the robbery, etc. So you see high poverty, high crime rates rising, and they're like, what's the point in me voting? Because my community has been what it's always been my whole life for decades, no matter who we vote in. Well, let's stir up this racial division and make them think white supremacy is the biggest threat to their life, despite the fact that 99% of all of the crime and violence and death and mayhem occurring in their community is being perpetrated either by themselves, and or other people in their community. Let's gin up this racial divide to get votes and have them hating white people, have black people hating white people as the enemy. Have this propaganda that all white people are racist, whether they realize it or not, and create this whole critical race theory and have people hating other people of another pigmentation. For what? No one did anything to me. And then vice versa, you do have those on the other side of the Republican Party that also gin up hate for the other side. Mostly it's hatred towards liberals, particularly coastal northern Yankee liberals in the New York cities and Chicago and Los Angeles and or Portland, Oregon, or Seattle, Washington. Like, hate these liberals in these coastal cities, and also probably even gin up fear of those who look different than them. So there are those who will use the border crisis to try to gen up fear and say, look at all these immigrants just crossing over. They're going to destroy your way of life. You're going to lose everything, lose your culture, lose your traditions. Look at these people. They're going to take over by 2050. You're going to become the minority soon if you don't put a patch on this thing. There is a crisis on the border, but yeah, you have some, and it's not racist to believe that you should have a system where you can see who's coming in and control who's coming in or coming out of your country. But you have some who are ginning up some hate and fear for who's coming over regardless. There are some, not a whole lot. And I don't think it's just with the politicians, but also with the media. Because what do most people consume all day long? And that is CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, ABC News, NBC News, CBS. That's what they're consuming all day. Or they're reading papers, or if they're not reading the actual paper, just reading it online, the New York Post, the New York Times, the Washington Post, LA Times, etc. They're reading all of these news outlets, which, by the way, are mostly controlled by only 6 corporations. 90% of all of the news and or programming you get are controlled by 6 giant media giants. That's it. GE, General Electric, pretty much controls, and actually they have more so of a partnership with Comcast, but under that is NBC, Universal Pictures, Focus Features. Then you have News Corp, which owns Fox, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post. Disney, which most notably owns ABC, ESPN, Pixar, Miramax, Marvel Studios. Viacom, which owns MTV, Nickelodeon, BET, CMT, so yeah, BET and Country Music Television, and MTV, same thing. And they own Paramount Pictures. You have Time Warner, which owns CNN, HBO, Time, of course, and Warner Brothers, and then CBS, which owns Showtime, the Smithsonian Channel, NFL, Jeopardy, 60 Minutes, to name a few. 90% of all of the programming that you consume, whether it just be TV shows, which do have agendas and or messages that they try to get across, as well as news, it's all controlled by 6 companies, 6 giants, essentially, creating this illusion of choice. Yes, you have thousands of channels, but they're controlled by only a handful, less than a handful of individuals. And so the media also plays a big part in this partisanship and making people hate the other side, hate one another, when really we have a lot in common. So I thought that was very, very interesting. And I have to agree with Charles Barkley for the most part, but it's not just, again, politicians. It's also those in the media. Politicians use it to stay in power, keep people divided, and keep the vote divided as much as possible while trying to identify and or shore up a specific voting bloc. And then you have the media, which does it to get ratings. And then you have those who own those media outlets, the oligarchs, the billionaires, that pretty much run everything, who are doing it for their own benefit. You know, these politicians have to run billion-dollar campaigns just for a presidential election, million-dollar, multi-million-dollar campaigns when you're talking about these Congress seats or governor seats. You have to raise a lot of money. Where are you getting it? You're not getting it from the Bronx or the Queens. You're getting it from Wall Street and Manhattan. You're not getting it from South Central LA. You're getting it from Beverly Hills. You're not getting it from the South Side of San Antonio. You're getting it from Alamo Heights or Stone Oak. And in return for these $1 million or tens of thousands of dollars every day they get from these oligarchs and wealthy individuals, they're passing bills according to what they want. All right. They're doing the bidding of their campaign donors. They really don't care about the people that they're supposed to represent. All right. And so, and they need that division. They need that division in order to stay in power, in order to keep paying these politicians to pass policies that benefit them while screwing the most of the rest of the country, and have them fighting amongst each other and have them not pay attention to what's really going on. So I thought that was a really great thing that Charles Barkley said. We'll see if it leads. I don't think it's honestly going to lead anywhere. People are so entrenched on their specific camps that they believe that they're right. It's like a cult. So if you're if you're a Democrat, for instance, you're going to be triggered by anything that doesn't adhere to the ideology of your particular cult. And so that's going to trigger them. They're just going to be like, whatever, man, you don't understand. Republicans are the enemy. White supremacists are the enemy, these fascists. And then on the other side, you're going to have Republicans say, that was great. He dropped some red pills. Maybe these Democrats are going to wake up, not realizing that a lot of Republicans are also drinking the Kool-Aid and not truly understanding where a lot of these liberal or people who identify as liberal in these cities like New York, Philly, Chicago, Detroit, where they're coming from, why they're voting the way they do, or what are their communities like, what is the plight really like for them, and trying to reach out. That's not happening. They just see an enemy that's just trying to cancel them, and I get it. Because they're getting attacked viciously and they're losing the culture war because they don't own the institutions of the media or the schools, academia. That's all run by a group of individuals that hate them. And so they're going to feel oppressed and see an enemy in the liberals and or see an enemy in people that don't look like them or think like them. So unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to continue to move the needle, but hopefully it does, because I honestly believe Charles Barkley is right. I came from Philly, born and raised, 44% black, 40% Caucasian, and the rest Hispanic and Asian. Now I'm in San Antonio, where it's at best 9% black, with about 66% white Hispanic being Mexican, and yet I was welcomed in with open arms. And then I can say the same thing when I went to visit Vermont several times. The families and communities during the student exchange program I was a part of in elementary school, they welcomed me and people who look like me with open arms. Didn't matter what I looked like. People really don't hate each other, but you have a system that is built on stoking the flame. So I'd like to know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment on this video. I want to hear your thoughts on the matter. This is Bruce the Boss Brooks, and I'm out. Peace.